Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with some Hazbin Hotel fan songs. This is the second time we're doing this. We did this back in March, but this time all three of them are going to be by the same artist, Paranoid DJ. Um, so last time I don't believe I was really that big of a fan of any of them. We'll see how it goes this time. Each one of these seems to be based around a different character. So what we have here is Use Me Up, Angel's Order. We have Sober, Husk cover version. And Smile Like You Mean It, Alistair's Offer. So we have Angel, Husk, and Alistair. So out of these three characters, Angel's the only one I really like. Based on the pilot, of course. Husk just didn't really have a chance to make an impact at all. And Alistair, I have already talked about in the past why I'm not as big a fan of Alistair. I'm not going to go into that again here, but I'm still willing to give these a chance. We'll see, because the song could still be good. It's going to be interesting to see. Also, before we get this going and go to the redirect, I do want to actually bring up Hazbin Hotel because this gives me a chance to do so. So, as you know, we've been waiting on this series and we've been waiting on any kind of like trailer or announcement. It's supposedly coming this summer still, but we're almost at the end of July and there's only 1 month of summer left. So they really need to get on that if it is. And there's not been any like news that it's been delayed or anything. And here's the thing, even with the writer and actor strikes going on, A24 actually is exempt from that. A lot of people don't know that, but A24 was given an exemption by SAG-AFTRA because they are adhering to the standards and what's the word? They're just adhering to what SAG-AFTRA is demanding from studios and all. They're paying the writers and the actors and everything a proper wage and shit. Because they're adhering to these policies and ideas, SAG-AFTRA has given A24 and a couple other companies too the right to go ahead with their filming and everything. So A24 is not at all held back by these strikes. So there's no reason for it to really be delayed outside of, just it's not ready yet. But again, we've heard nothing about that. Though we've also heard nothing about it being like actually coming soon, so I don't know. As I've stated in the past, though, when it does eventually come out, I'm definitely going to be reacting to it. So we'll just see when it does. It's like, hopefully we get some kind of information or announcement soon. What would be the best case scenario would be if we got a trailer that revealed the exact release date at the end. Even if it's pushed back to this fall or even winter, I'm fine with that, as long as we just get that information. That would be the best case scenario. A trailer that at the very end gives us a specific date. But we'll see. Either way, let's check out these fan songs and see what they have in store. We will be redirecting just because of possible copyright shit. I just don't want to risk it. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here, do the redirect, and resume play. Because after it fades to black, then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the songs, I guess. That being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. I didn't like any of these. maybe it's partially just not my kind of music. Maybe it's also the fact that it's just, how do I put this? Fan music is tough for me. It always has been. Because with fan music, at least in my opinion, I want it to sound like it belongs as part of the show. Even if the series is not one that normally includes music, I want it to feel natural to the series. I've never been one into the entire AU headcanon kind of stuff, to where it's like viewing this series or whatever in a different way, and with your own like headcanons and like AU stuff, all of that stuff. You get the gist, I hope. So when I look at like fan works, what I like to see is stuff that represents the series. For example, with Hazbin Hotel, I hate alternate ships. Especially stuff like Alistair and Charlie. That shit pisses me off. Not just because of the characters being in a canon relationship, Charlie and Vaggie, but also the idea of Alistair and Charlie is excessively toxic to an entirely unenjoyable degree. There's nothing about it that sounds okay. Also, shipping a character like Vaggie with a male character, which I've seen a lot of people do, pisses me off as well. Because it's like, she's a lesbian. You are literally erasing gay representation by doing that. Even if it's not canon, even if it's just a fandom thing, it's still gay erasure. And that shit pisses me off. So I don't tend to get into that kind of stuff. And, I mean, I don't even listen to fan music for the most part outside of these reactions. So even outside of just, like, not liking the genre of the music, really, it's just not appealing to me. It's like, there's also the aspect of just not really digging how this kind of recontextualizes characters and whatnot. It feels so off with the style of music from what you would expect with Hazbin Hotel. And on top of that, it just seems weird to me. It just doesn't seem to mesh well with based on the pilot we got, at least, with the series. Also, the fact that the voice that's used for Husker in the second and third of these videos sounds nothing like Husk. Also, I hate that I called him Husker because his name is just Husk. But it sounds absolutely nothing like him at all. It's just like threw me off a lot. But let's talk about them all one by one. I can, I guess, air my grievances a little better with them just based on, again, a one by one thing. So the first one, Use Me Up Angel's Order. It's not that it's out of character for Angel. It's just, I feel Angel was a lot more aggro than he was shown to be. Like in the pilot, Angel was shown to be able to stick up for himself and all, but there were certain points where it was also shown through that and through the one song that we got, the Silverhound song. I can't think of what it's called right now. But through those, it was shown that he has a breaking point that will actually cause him to break down and everything, like we saw with in that. But in here, it just seems like he's basically almost willing to stand up to anything. Like he's unbreakable. He comes across as just nothing can get him down, no one can get him down, and he's just gonna go with it and go with the flow and, you know, flaunt himself. And it's just like, it doesn't really seem like Angel does to me. the voice is pretty good. It's a pretty good impression, unlike the Husk ones. It actually does sound quite a bit like Angel, like Michael Kovac's voice for him. Um, but that mixed with just the fact that I just didn't like the genre and sound of the song, just I was not into it pretty much at all. Which sucks too, because Angel is my favorite character from Hazbin Hotel. But then we have Sober, and this one, it's like if you just played this song, I would not at all guess it was in any way related to Hazbin Hotel, because, like I said, the Husk voice sounds literally nothing like Husk. Like, there's not a single tiny bit of that voice that sounds like Husk. It's not even like far away in terms of close. That's how like distant of a voice from Husk it actually is. It's also just bad. Here's the thing. I'm a fan of Pink, and I like this song. I don't know if it's just because of doing the voice, but this song had no life in it at all. The thing about Pink's voice is she has a bite to her voice. Whenever she sings, you feel like she has like an emotional bite to everything she's singing, to everything she's saying. It sounds like she has just this raw, like aggressive emotion. And Sober is no different. None of that is in this cover. There's no emotion, no bite, no anything. It's so bland and so like void of any level of feeling that it's boring. It's exceedingly boring. And it's like the lyrics are fine, but that's because they're Pink's lyrics. They're like already good. But again, it's like calling this a Husk cover version is being generous, considering like you're not sounding like Husk at all. There's none of the lyrics have been changed to reference really anything with Husk. Again, if I just listened to this without the title, without knowing the title, I would have never guessed this was a Hazbin Hotel fan cover. It would have never crossed my mind because it doesn't sound like it. It doesn't fit the series at all. It doesn't like... It just does not work on any level. It was easily the worst of this trio of songs here. It's a bad cover. It sounds lifeless. It doesn't even work as a fan cover. It doesn't make sense for being Hazbin Hotel related. Again, the voice being used isn't even good. Not even just not good for Husk. It's just not good. And of course, this is all subjective, all my opinion. If you like this, that's fine, but I did not at all. The third one was the best, but I say that while also saying that it was so bland and average and just there that it's only the best by default. It's the best simply because it's not bad. The first two had issues that I couldn't get over. The first two just did not work for me. This one is just there. It exists. It's like the Alistair voice is fine. I don't know, I think that's the only good thing I can say about it. The problem is, I never really thought the Alistair voice, like the radio-like voice, worked for singing in the first place, even in the actual pilot. But it's definitely even worse here when it's very clearly an imitation, because a fine imitation, but it's very clearly an imitation. It's not as good as the original by any means, and it's very apparent that it's just imitating the original. I don't think it works really for singing at all. It just sounds really off. And on top of that, it's like the lyrics were just super bland. Like, they weren't interesting at all. Nothing about it really stood out to me. And that's pretty much the entire song, honestly. Nothing about it stood out. Nothing about it was even slightly interesting. It was just so boring. Like, at least the first song, the Angel song, at least it got some level of emotion out of me, even if it was like not enjoying how they portrayed Angel necessarily, thinking that they portrayed him a little too aggressive and everything. But with this, it's like, I just don't care. I just don't care at all. I have complete apathy towards this song. It does nothing for me, one way or the other, and that's almost kind of worse than if it's just bad. Because the fact that it elicits pretty much nothing from me is almost kind of worse, if I'm being honest. It like I said, it's technically the best, but only by default because it's not bad. But because it's like elicits nothing from me, I mean, maybe like the Angel ones is just better by preference. I don't know. Either way, I didn't really like any of these three. Like, none of them really were good to me at all. And again, like, part of that might be because of just fan songs like having a lot to live up to for me, just because of how I just tend to think. And it's not something I like actively try to do. It's not like I go into a fan song trying to hate it or anything. It's just when I go into it, my thought process is I want this to sound, and I almost expect this to sound like it belongs either for the character or for the show. Like, it makes sense for the context that they are giving it. It's like, it'd be like doing a death metal fan song for the Owl House. It just would not work. It would make no sense to do a death metal song for the Owl House. It'd be like, or on the inverse, it'd be like doing a country song for Metalocalypse. It just wouldn't work. Because Metalocalypse is about heavy metal. The fan songs for that would be metal. Owl House has a lighter tone that would work better with, if you want to do rock, a lighter sounding rock. Maybe even pop punk. But not like a death metal. No, you wouldn't do death metal for that. That would make no sense. So it's like doing these kind of songs like would work for something like Undertale or Deltarune. Those games. But doing this kind of music for something like Hazbin Hotel or even Hell of a Boss, just it doesn't work for me. Honestly, death metal would work better, if I'm being honest. Metal, like hard rock, stuff like that would work fine. A love song for Vaggie and Charlie would work great. Like, this kind of like high energy, like almost kind of like party music with like a lot of what's it called? Like vocal effects and everything. I'm trying to think of the specific word or term or whatnot. All auto... God, what is it called? Wow, my mind is blank. Hold on, I have to look this up because I am, like, just losing it here. I am having a complete brain fart. Auto-tune. Jesus. Don't know why I could not think of that for the life of me. But all the auto-tune and vocal filters and stuff in this, it's just like was so distracting. It's just like the only character it could work on is Alistair. And it just didn't sound right because again, it was just like a very noticeable impression that just sounded off. And again, even then, I don't think the radio Alistair voice, the way that he speaks, works for song. Like I said, I don't even think that with the actual pilot. So it's like, maybe it's just me, but I didn't like these. They weren't for me, clearly. If you like these, that's perfectly fine, and that's perfectly valid. Everyone's opinion is their own, and they're perfectly entitled to that. And that means I don't have to like it. And so, yeah. But tell me in the comments below, what did you think of these Hazbin Hotel fan songs? And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.